Welcome to the very first episode of Northern Steel. I'm your host, and with my co-host, the Paczkowski brothers. My name is Dominic Paczkowski. This is my brother, Christopher Paczkowski. You may be thinking to yourself, man, why am I listening to this? And how did I stumble upon this? And why am I friends and family with these two? Because no one random might be watching this. And if you are random, hey, great, welcome. If you're random, that means you are listening to this or watching this because you are starving for Steelers news and Steelers opinions and Steelers media. That's why we made this. This podcast is called Northern Steel because we are two individuals from outside of Pittsburgh. We're actually from Minnesota, so that's where the Northern comes from. And, we kind of are under the impression that a lot of people outside of Pittsburgh aren't allowed to talk about Pittsburgh sports, which I don't think is fair or the case. I think Pittsburgh Steelers fans especially are all over the place. What you think, Chris?
Oh, 100%. I mean, we've seen it before. You go literally anywhere and you're bound to see at least one group of people supporting the black and gold anywhere you go. I mean, we've even been to the Steelers bar that's downtown, and that's filled with Steeler fans.
Oh,
You
yeah.
just don't really see that with any other team like anywhere else.
They have a huge following in Mexico as well. On my honeymoon, there's a couple workers who were cheering for the Steelers as well. So that's why we decided to make this podcast, because we're kind of like an outside perspective on the team we love so much and the team that you love so much. We also try to be maybe a little logical in the way that we are thinking about the Steelers. We love the team. We love what they do. But we know their flaws and we know their issues that they can have as well. So before we get into some of this other stuff, let's get a little introduction, Chris, about who we are. So I'll do an overarching thing. We can do a little individual stuff for anyone who'd like to care. So we'll make it short and sweet. Chris and I, like we said, are brothers. We grew up Steeler fans, but we're from Minnesota. So you might be thinking, okay, what's up with that? Our dad is from North Dakota, and
so it totally makes sense.
Yeah, and they don't have a team, obviously. So he grew up in the 70s, and the team that was doing the best in the 70s was the Steelers. So he kind of fell in love with their organization, the way they run things, and he picked them as his favorite team. So when Chris and I started getting a little bit older, we're playing Madden more, and we're playing football outside more. The very first season of football that we watched, we decided, hey, you know what? Let's cheer for the team our dad's been cheering for, the Steelers. We have no other I don't think we really knew that many other teams anyways. So
it wasn't allowed really to know any other team.
Exactly. If you're a Steeler fan, it's not really allowed to like anybody else. So we watched the Steelers their very first season, which happened to be the 2005 season where they won Super Bowl 40. And we've been hooked ever since. So with that being said, we thought it was also a good idea to start this podcast kind of ushering in a new era, just like all the fans are experiencing. We've watched Ben's entire career, and now it's over. And here we are, right along with you, not really sure what's to come. As far as individual introductions, my name is Dominic. I am 28. I'm married. I have 2 kids. And I do video for a living. Go ahead, Chris.
All right. And then, kind of going off of what Dom said, we were kind of forced into our football nature of liking the Steelers. And it's not really like a forcing, right? They definitely captured our hearts from that first moment. We were kind of lucky, right? Coming in at that 2005 season, kind of wish that we would have came in that year before with Big Ben, seeing that 15-1. But,
right.
Just a little out of it. And I think that's when our dad was like, you know what? Big things are coming. So if there's any time to get these guys excited, it's now. And I'm glad that he did, because it's kind of developed an extreme interest. Some may even say an obsession. But
Yeah. And your
we're
obsession,
here.
too, kind of came on the past couple years. I mean, Chris has always been a fan of the Steelers. He's always watched every single game with us. We've had our traditions for scoring touchdowns and whatnot. But as of the past couple years, I feel like, Chris, you've really, like, dived into everything about them. And another reason why we kind of decided to start this podcast is Chris calls me up every day while we're working, and we kind of talk about the Steelers for an hour anyways. Every day. So we figured, you know what, might as well record it and have some fun with it. This podcast, I mean, what we want to do is just to try it out for fun. We're going to try and post once a week, and we're going to talk about different topics as they come across. You know, we're free agency first. We'll talk about the draft. We'll do some mock draft stuff. We'll look into that and have some opinions on those things. We're going to have that little lull of the off season, but I'm sure we'll find some things to talk about there. And then whether it be like fun list things or maybe like we'll talk about our division opponents and how much we hate them, you know, who knows? We could also, and then when the season comes, we would really like to kind of review each game and set up the next game to come.
All in all, I think there's a lot of big content that we're obviously going to be trying to cover. You know, like Dom was saying, we definitely talk about this on the regular basis. So, and I feel like we really come out of it from a very unbiased standpoint. Yeah, first and foremost, we are Steeler fans, which is great. We're going to be discussing that stuff. But at the end of the day, we're football fans. We try to look at it from a bigger perspective, being like, you know, look at it way more logical than just, you know, speaking with our feelings. And I'm not going to say that's not going to come out. I think being a Steeler fan, you definitely get emotional. And it's hard not to when they give you a heart attack every single week during the regular season.
Well, yeah, it's hard not to try to be positive when we've seen success, even though you know it's not going to happen. I mean, they made the playoffs last year. We knew they were playing the Chiefs. We knew they were going to get destroyed by the Chiefs, but something in like the back of our heads were like, oh man, but what if, you know?
Yeah.
We've seen them do the Cinderella story with Jerome Bettis. What if they pulled it off, the Big Ben? And then they didn't change any of the play calling they did all year, and they sucked. And that's how that game went.
I felt like that whole last season was very much a what if, because we were all aware that this was nearing Big Ben's end. You know, like we all knew he was going to be kind of seeing that finish line after a big long career that he had, and it's like, you know, we'd go through game by game, we'd win a couple, and then we'd lose some, and then we'd go on a win streak, and then we're like, oh my gosh, this could happen. And then obviously, like any other Steeler fan, we somehow get this luck of the draw last week of the season where somehow the Jags beat the Colts.
Yeah.
And then literally you're just freaking out. You're like, stop. This isn't happening. This can't be happening.
And
it just happened to work out.
The Sunday night game against the Chargers and Raiders.
Gosh,
and I stood up the entire time, and I was like pissed. I had like a knot in my stomach because I thought they were really going to tie it up, and they didn't. And you might say like, well, it doesn't really matter. And maybe you're thinking, oh, well, I wish they would have tied, so Steelers would have a higher draft pick. But I don't know. I think the Steelers are built on a precedent that they can win at any moment, even though they haven't done that recently, and they have players on their team that are competitive. So I think they're always going to be in the fight. That's going to kind of relate to a lot of the stuff we're going to talk about this off season, about some of the ideas that we've heard from people about what, oh, they could do this, they could do that. But I don't know if they're going to just lay down and die. And we'll get more to that as we go along. So I guess last season was, like you said, up and down. Big Ben went out. He pretty much viewed his Monday night win against the Browns as his finale and cried my eyes out as I watched that. Or Sunday night. Was that Sunday night or Monday night? That was Monday.
I believe it was Sunday night.
Was it Sunday?
Against the Browns?
Yeah.
I believe so.
Okay. Yeah. Cried my eyes out for that. That was really great. And yeah, he's had a long career. So now we're moving on into the offseason. First up is free agency. Now, if you're listening to this or watching it, we'll have the title of these episodes with the date we record them. So today's obviously March 8th. And free agency officially starts next week, Wednesday. But we all know that the free agency tampering period, I guess, or whatever you want to call it. I mean, things happen as soon as now. And they did happen today. And we'll get more into some of the bigger stuff that happened today later. But I think it'd be fun to maybe jump right into it and talk about some free agency stuff. Things that we know, things that we have like opinions on, and we can kind of talk about it, bring it up or whatever. And just kind of, give our thoughts on what we think they could possibly do. Now, Chris and I, we get, unlike, people from Pittsburgh, which might be the downfall here, or inside sports media, we get all our news from people who are actually close to the Steelers, who like have the inside track on information. So, if there's something like outlandish or a rumor, we'll try to like credit the person that we see that from. Like I don't want you to think that we're making stuff up when we're saying this. This all comes from somewhere. I mean, people on Twitter that we really gravitate towards tweets are like Nick Farabaugh or Farabaugh, however that's pronounced, and Alex Kazora. Mm-hmm. Might have botched both those last names. Our last name is Paczkowski, and you're always going to botch that, no matter what. But, those are some people that we get like our tweets information from, plus they're pretty logical, they're pretty level-headed, that I enjoy on like others. So I don't know if I need to put them on blast episode 1, but trust me, I will. So yeah, let's go on some free agency stuff, Chris. Let me try to pull up maybe who's going to be some free agents this year. Kind of take a look at maybe who we have as our potential free agents and who we think can maybe stay, who we think maybe is going to go. And what do we think it's going to do about that? So I'm going to type in, I'm looking up the NFL free agents right now.
Sure. Maybe while you're doing that, I just realized I never introduced myself other than the broad introduction that I got. What up? My name is Chris. I am the younger of the Paz brothers. I'm 25. I am living with my lovely fiance. We are getting married in May. And so there might be a little bit of lenience with some of the recording coming up in the next couple months, but we're hoping to get a lot more consistent with it, like Dom was saying, especially as the season goes. But yeah, I was a wee young lad. Are you good? Do I have to keep going with this, or can
you can keep rolling if you want?
Well, I mean, if you're ready to roll, I was just gonna come up with some random story.
No, yeah, I'm ready.
All right, I won't bore anybody, but go on, Dom. Hit him with what you got.
Okay, so let's just run down the list of like some Steelers free agents that we have currently, and so I just looked up a list. We're just going to go on the list. There is no order per se. So I'll just list some names. Right off the bat, we have Terrell Edmonds, who I think they'll keep. I know a lot of people don't like Terrell Edmonds, and the unfortunate thing is the safety free agents this year, which we'll get to like who's available too, but the safety free agents this year are like really good. So kind of, I can understand maybe like someone's disappointment and anger towards like not looking at the safeties. But this is just how the Steelers operate. I mean, they spent a first-round pick on this dude, and even though that was way too high for a first-round pick because Jesse Bates and Justin Reed went in the same year and are better safeties, and we could have got him in the 3rd round, and I believe we could have got Darius Leonard instead, and also got Edmonds. Yeah, big oof. Edmonds has played solid. And he hasn't like gone above and beyond, but he hasn't like been bad. And I guess he could get a franchise tag, right? But I see him coming back on like a small deal because maybe they want to work someone else in that spot. But I just don't see them getting rid of him for someone that could be out there like a Justin Reed or a Jamal Adams. Like, I don't see them doing that. I feel like they'll keep Terrell Edmonds.
No, and I mean, like, you know it as well as I do. The Steelers have never, ever, ever really been about the free agency or big time trades up until maybe the last few years when we've seen things like Devin Bush, us going up to that 10th pick to get him. Like,
right.
Up until that happened, I don't think you and I were ever like, yeah, this is going to happen, because the Steelers play within the organization. They trust the guys that they have. They believe in them. So they just kind of keep going with that. And I mean, like, Edmonds was a player to me that I frankly did not enjoy. Obviously, right. When you read the scouting report after he got drafted, they're like, hey, this is like third round talent that we're getting in the first round, which obviously when they say stuff like that, you obviously start forming your own opinions. And then the first couple of years weren't that great. I mean, but I got to credit that to, like, hey, you're taking a big jump from that, where to go, Virginia Tech, college football, wherever you are, to the NFL. Things are going to be more difficult. And he's definitely come on a lot stronger for sure last year, if not the last 2 years, to be right. Like, oh, maybe keeping him around isn't a bad idea, especially looking at our position where draft is and like looking at safeties within the, college football and everything.
Yeah.
It's not a super deep class.
Right.
So
and I don't think like we're gonna like I'm not even sure if Kyle Hamilton plays strong safety, but we're not in a position to get Kyle Hamilton,
No.
But again, Terrell Edmonds I don't believe is worth the first round pick, but he's been solid. So I think they'll keep him. Next up on the list is Trey Turner, our right guard. I think it's tough to say because some people will say that he was our best lineman last year, and he's older. He still wasn't very good. I mean, no one on our line was.
No. I mean, yeah, no one on our line was good.
I guess, like, now before you get your pitchforks and want to kill me, I guess I would rather, like, not spend the money on him and go big or go broke on Brandon Sheriff, who is a right guard on free agency, or hopefully a center comes down the line and we can move Kendrick Green to left guard where he played in college, and Dotson can play right guard. That would be kind of like the thing I'd rather do, I think. Not because I think Kendrick Green is going to be a way better guard than Trey Turner, but that is more of his position. That's why I drafted him. He's younger and cheaper. I don't know.
By far.
I can kind of see that being a situation where he could go, but I can also see him staying for veteran leadership, I suppose.
I mean, gosh, even Big Ben made the remarks at the end of the year where he's like, yeah, Kendrick Green, he's going to be a good guard. Like, the dude never said anything about being a center. And I don't think that's bashing Kendrick Green's play at all. It's just like, Ben's like, yeah.
It's just honest.
Maybe let's push him over,
Yeah. He's like, maybe he should play the position that he played in college. He's like, here's a thought for you.
We're like, I don't know about that one.
They're like, but he could wear Pouncey's number. That's fine. No, he's getting bull rushed every single time.
Oh, gosh, it's so tough. And, like, and center is such a hard position, right? Like, obviously, you're playing right there. Aside from, like, making sure you have a clean snap all the time, there's different blitz packages, things like that, where people are just coming through. And, like, Kendrick Green is kind of deceiving a little bit because he looks small. He does. Yeah. But then you look at his dimensions and you're like, oh, he's 6'4", 15 pounds or something, which I guess is kind of a smaller lineman, but at the same time, like, that's not an easy person to move.
No. By any means. And I mean, I'm under the opinion that center is a very important piece of the line. I know a lot of people say, like, your tackles are your most important piece because they're like the last stand kind of against the quarterback, and then it's guards and centers kind of the last. But I think the center is kind of used more of like the anchor. We've had 3 Hall of Fame worthy centers, 2 actually in the Hall of Fame. And we could have had a fourth last year, but we'll talk about that at a different time. Because I think he's going to be really good. So let's move it on. Let's move on to right tackle. We got Chuks Okorafor.
Sure. I just have one more quick thing about the middle line kind of thing.
Oh, sure.
Just going off of, especially having Najee in the backfield. I think having those tackles are important because we got to start expanding our play to the outsides. But
Right.
Najee is so much of a north and south runner to where having those inside pieces is so important. And you saw it all the time. And I'm curious if that's almost why we ran so many draws, is because we just wanted to give the interior line that second to be like, oh, they're passing. Oh, no, they're not. They're running.
Right.
So they're not getting bull rushed in there for that rush. But if we had that strong inside and Najee can go straight up the middle, and that's his play. That's where he's able to get, 3, 4, 5, 6 yards.
Right. And they could find some strong interior guys in the draft too. You never know.
Yeah.
Next is Chuks. I say, as of right now, because there's not a lot of tackles in free agency. There are few tackle options in the draft, but as of right now, I say they keep him because I don't know if they're going to. I don't see a reason why they would get rid of him right now.
It's tough. Like we said before, Steelers are such a home body, and they really like to stick with what they got. And I mean, I could see him staying as a, safety blanket kind of a thing, because obviously injuries happen all throughout the league. I'm not just going to say it happens to the Steelers. Obviously, it feels that way sometimes. But once those guys go down, I feel like our backups go in, they end up going down. It'd be nice to get that depth piece. So even if we can get a tackle later on in the draft, obviously it's saves some money because,
Right.
Rookies, a little to nothing with cap hit. And, they could potentially be really, really good, depending on where you get them in the draft. And from what I understand, I've also been know that tackles are deep in this draft class.
Maybe. I don't know if I agree, but
I mean, that's what I read. So granted,
yeah, I don't know if I agree, but that's okay. Okay, next is Joe Hayden. I think he could be gone. I love Joe. I wanted the Steelers to draft Joe. I was super hyped when we drafted Joe. I'm sorry, Joe, that you never won a playoff game with the Browns, and then you came to Pittsburgh and you still didn't win one. That's depressing. Yeah, did you think about that? Did you know that?
I try to forget about our disappointing postseason runs.
I think the thing with Joe is if we keep him, I think it's kind of telling on what we're trying to do. I don't know if we will keep him. He is older. His play kind of declined last year. He's up and down in injuries. I still love Joe Hayden. I think it's kind of telling if we sign him, then some of the bigger name out there of J.C. Jackson, who I'd be very excited to get, who I'd really want. I feel like I feel like that name kind of goes out the window then. I think if you sign Joe Hayden, you're pretty much assuming that we're not getting J.C. Jackson. So tough to say.
Yeah. But I also wouldn't be surprised if, I don't know, that's tough to say. I feel like that's just kind of speaking out loud with the draft as well.
And we have a bunch of cornerback free agents. So that's why I feel like we should, there are some that we should keep. If I skip a couple names here, there's Witherspoon, who I was not a fan of at first. We traded.
Absolutely not.
We traded a pick to pick up Witherspoon, and the Panthers traded the same pick or maybe one round earlier to get Gilmore.
Like a fourth rounder?
Yeah, to get Gilmore of all people, which we could have done.
Yeah.
But we got Witherspoon instead, and I was pissed. But Witherspoon, those last 5 weeks or whatever he started, those 4 weeks, he came on strong. And he was easily our best cornerback. And I think that almost kind of gave him the right to earn another contract, mostly because we spent draft capital on him, so might as well keep him.
Yeah. Even if it's a shorter deal, I mean, granted, he only got to play really half the year with us, but it's also interesting to see how players, they might not perform well in certain schemes, and then they go to a different team where things are ran differently, and that might be like, this is it. This is where we start performing better.
Right. So I would say we keep him, and then the other cornerback on the market, Arthur Maulet. That is right now tough to say because he's kind of like our slot blitzing guy that replaced Mike Hilton, who we should have never got rid of in the first place.
I miss Mike.
Yeah, we should have never got rid of Mike. But yeah, I don't know. He did okay. He's also went through injuries. It's one of those things too that's tough to say as well until we kind of maybe see what they do in free agency, I guess. Mm-hmm. But the quarterback class in the draft is super deep. So if we need like a small blitzing nickel dime backer, I'm sure we could find someone in the draft to replace Maulet, to be honest. No offense to him and his family. But that's just true. Okay, so let's move on to we got 3 people in this category, kind of grouping them all together. We got wide receivers.
Okay.
We'll go with the most heartbreaking one first, which would be Juju. Juju, I don't know who's listening at all, if we get any other listeners. I know a lot of the older crowd in Pittsburgh don't like Juju, and they can suck a big egg. Because I think Juju is great. I think the things I've seen him do for the community are really awesome. I don't even live there, but the things I've seen him do are.
But I can feel it.
Yeah, but the things I've seen him do are great. I think he's a really good person. I think he plays hard. I think he plays tough. I mean, the fact that he came back in that playoff game for his injury that he had, he's a tough dude, and he loves the team. He loves the sport, but he gets a lot of flack for his TikTok stuff, which doesn't bother me. It's not a big of a deal. I didn't really dig him dancing with the logos, but that was mostly because I didn't think that was why we lost games, but I didn't dig it when we were losing games that he kept doing it. But I mean,
right.
Whatever. It's not like the end all be all, okay? I'm not I feel like he gets a lot of undeserved hate from a bunch of fans and Mark Madden fanboys, and
gosh,
yeah, I'm gonna call him out already.
Don't even get me started on Mark Madden.
and I just
he has the most.
And I feel like if Juju, I know, and I feel like if Juju wants to leave the Steelers, I don't blame him because he gets so much undeserved hate. Like there's reports of him wanting to be on the Chiefs, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, he could go then. Good riddance. Like he's not loyal." And it's like, bro, everyone hates him for no good reason, and he would light it up on the Chiefs. He would light it up on the Chiefs. So I would love to have Juju back because I love Juju. I think he's a great player. But if he goes somewhere else, man, I feel like it's kind of one of those things where I will still root for him as a player and as a person. Yeah. Because he's a good person.
And I don't think that happens very often, right? Someone leaves the team and you're like, I don't want them to succeed. I mean, look at AB. The last thing I wanted him to do was win a Super Bowl. And of course that happens because he goes and plays with Tom Brady. Right. And if you're on a team with Tom Brady, you're bound to win. And then Le'Veon Bell. I mean, realistically, he had it so good with us. Like, we literally offered him more money, I think, right? If that's, like, once they went down to it.
I mean,
I don't
there's
know.
there's always the argument of like more money plus guaranteed or compared to guaranteed money, but
Right.
sure.
Whatever. But I mean, like, on top of it, we were good. Like, we were coming off of our best offensive years,
Right.
averaging like 30 plus points per game. And like, obviously that's because of our key playmakers that we had. But, you know, they left for greedy reasons, in my opinion, or because they were just kind of crazy. But I mean, whereas, like, I agree with you where Juju gets too much hate for what he does, because, like, in my personal opinion, he kind of not epitomizes, maybe that's the right word. I don't know. The black and gold. He wears that with a badge of honor, and like he wants it. How often do you have a player that goes and takes less money to come back as like a prove it deal, first off, and then literally plays this year, gets hurt, comes back and plays after an injury that should have been season ending, and he still goes, I want to be signed by the Steelers.
Right.
I want to stay here. I've established myself. This is my home. He, like, the way he plays football is tough and aggressive. Like, we don't have that with other guys on the team. Like, you know, he's not afraid to get up there, hit guys, block dudes. He's arguably our best blocking wide receiver. And, you know, like, we need that. Like, he is, to me, a true Steeler. And I agree with you. He just gets way too much hate for like wanting to have fun.
I think like the perfect examples you brought up, Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell. The way I always think about that situation compared to Juju's is AB and Le'Veon failed. They failed us. They failed the team. They failed the city. But for Juju, if he leaves, we failed him, and that's how I view that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. Hopefully it doesn't go. The next two other receivers are, we got James Washington and Ray Ray. I think James is going to go. I mean, there was trade rumors last year. He never gets the ball. But if you are a Steeler fan listening to this, and I've seen people who are like, James Washington catches everything. It's a shame we don't throw it to him more. I feel like he didn't have a lot of chances. I feel like he had more chances this past year, and he's still like 50-50 on him. Mm-hmm. There's some. I mean, Ben does not throw the greatest deep ball. Don't get me wrong. He might go somewhere else and he might like light it up. Honestly, good for James Washington. Unlike Juju, where I would like root for Juju as a player and as a person because I love Juju. I wouldn't necessarily like root for James Washington, but I wouldn't root against him. Does that make sense?
No,
I think he's a really good guy. I think he's a good person too. He hasn't done anything wrong. I think he just wants more of an opportunity. You can't fault him for that. I wouldn't probably root like with the team he's on, right? But again, I wouldn't root against him. I think he could let it up. I think he's gone. Then you got Ray Ray. Ray Ray made some plays in the slot, probably more than he made mistakes. It's hard to remember like the non-mistakes he made, but that always happens, you know. That's why people don't like Deontay Johnson as much as they should. Ray Ray also, it doesn't seem like he does that great at returning, even though he's usually like top 5 in the league in returning punts and kicks. I don't know. I think that's what I want to say yes, they keep him on the precipice that we lose James and Juju, because if we lose both those guys, then we have Claypool and Deontay, and that's it.
Yeah, and it's tough, right? Because I don't know if I have anything wrong or bad to say about Ray Ray. I think I kind of put him in a bad spot myself, because when I look at the slot receiver position, I feel like back when, you know, Juju was young and we had him there, the dude shine. Granted, we had AB as another distraction, and like it allowed him to get open. Whatever. For whatever reason, I have this weird man crush on Eli Rogers from when we had him.
Me too.
Because I felt like the dude went in there. You never really thought about him being in there, but like if Ben had some throw that he's just kind of getting it off there, all of a sudden you see this dude Superman diving and catching it, and you're like, dude, who was that? Was that AB? And you're like, nah, it's Eli Rogers. And you're like, who? Oh, it's Eli Rogers. So it's like, I don't know. Ever since that era happened with Eli, I feel like I've been a lot harder on those like slot shiftier guys. I don't think what Ray has done is bad. I think he's definitely come up in certain moments. And we need that. We need a lot more elusiveness and speed. But like, I agree with you. I don't think we'll get rid of him just because without him, we're down to 2 receivers, and we can't physically draft all those guys because we need that draft capital elsewhere. And then it comes to free agency, and it's like, what money are we willing to spend on maybe some veteran guys? I don't know.
Right. Yeah, those are all good points. So there's only a couple of guys left. Let's kind of go a speed round on this. Kind of yay or nay on it.
Sure.
Eric Ebron? No. He's not coming back.
No, out.
Yeah.
No. Freiermuth and Gentry has proved himself.
Yeah. Montravius Adams? Yes. Yeah. He stays.
Yep.
I hope he stays. We'll see.
Me too. Great depth piece if he doesn't start.
Yeah. Taco Charlton? Maybe.
He didn't do too bad, I thought.
He didn't do too bad. The reason why I say maybe is because, and we're transitioning into this next segment, but more of like rumors of people who we want to see. But there was a rumor today I sent to you about Kyle Van Noy with the Patriots. Is a rumor that the Steelers are interested in him, and that would be a depth piece on the edge where Taco would be. Not to say they would get rid of Taco, they'd probably get rid of Derek. I never pronounce his name, from NDSU. Tuska.
Yeah.
But he played well too, though.
Well, at the end of the year too.
Yeah. I don't know. I said they keep Taco for now, but we'll see.
Yeah.
BJ. Yeah, probably, because he's the only center, depending on what you view Kendrick Green as.
Depth. That's all I can say.
Yeah. Balaj? No.
No.
Miles Killebrew? Maybe. Special teams, he was really good.
Dude was great for like special teams. I thought I saw his name all the time for special team tackles.
Did he block 2 punts?
I think so. Did he return one?
I don't know. Maybe.
Or I think he was going for it, and I think it went out of bounds or something. Yeah. I can't remember exactly.
So yeah, I feel like he's the one that blocked 2 punts. So I say yes right now. And then Josh Dobbs, I say no, because I think they're going to pick up another quarterback. They might pick up 2. So
yeah,
I say no.
From the reports I've been seeing, it's been very much don't be surprised if you get a veteran presence, and then maybe even someone in the draft if it happens.
But Dobbs can transition
are you missing
into
someone?
According to this list. Why? Who are you thinking of?
What about Zach Banner? Are we? I mean, he might not be a free agent, but
Zach Banner's not a free agent, but he is a easy, in my opinion, cut candidate. Easy cut candidate.
Yes.
To help out our cap, because he hasn't played. I don't know what his issues are. I don't think he's worth the money he is being paid. I think they should cut him to help out the cap. The other cap casualty that people say is Derek Watt. I'm more on the fence on that. I get why people want to cut him to help out with the cap, but I don't know. I feel like we're not using him properly. I feel like it's more of our fault than it is his, to be honest. He's a good special team player too, so I don't know.
Maybe with a new quarterback at helm, like we might have new packages, and I might be giving Matt Canada too much credit, but
you are.
Yep. I try to think too optimistically sometimes, and it backfires a lot. But someone's got to do it.
Yeah, you're definitely giving him too much credit.
Always.
So let's move over to maybe some like free agents who are available that maybe we could pick up.
Sure.
And I would love to access it. if my internet was working.
And I would love to have a list of it myself, but I'm scared if I pull up another tab, my computer will explode.
Yes. Great. Okay, so let's think about what we kind of want to look at first, right?
Sure.
I mean, let's start offense, we'll go defense, right? So offense,
Sure.
we can look at...
quarterback.
No, let's not go to the quarterback yet.
All right.
Quarterback's a big topic. Let's go line. How about that?
Sure.
Okay. Just taking a while. One of the names, while this is loading up, that I have already mentioned is Brandon Sheriff. I would love for them to get him. They as of now, the Steelers have not been linked to Brandon Sheriff at all. So that's more of like just a pipe dream for me. He's also going to cost a shite ton. But
yes, he will.
But that is someone who I would really, really enjoy. Then you got Cam Robinson just got franchise tagged, right?
Yep.
Today.
Yes, he did. Yep.
There's Nate Solder from the Giants, but he's old. I don't know. I'm not really like super hyped on that.
Let's just get to the name we're all waiting for.
Ryan Jensen?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Ryan Jensen. I do want the we have been rumored to go after him. However, on my Twitter feed, where I get this information, and maybe this is because I talked a little bit too much smack last year to some divisional opponent fans, which I never do. I mean, you might not believe me, but if you know me, I don't ever talk smack. I just had to certain individuals, and now I see
he just saves them.
Yeah,
he just lurks and he's like waiting for his moment to pounce.
and I see Ravens, Bengals, and Browns content on my Twitter, unfortunately. But that has given me the opportunity to kind of get an insight of what they are looking for, and I guess the Bengals have been rumored with Ryan Jensen as well. So hopefully we can sneak him if he ends up leaving the Bucs. Who else is there? I mean, Terran Armstead, that left tackle. I think you and I have one play
from the Saints.
Yeah, from the Saints. You and I have one play in mind where we're like, I think he's supposed to be good, Terran Armstead. I don't want to bash him based on one play, but there's one play Chris and I watched where he like stood there and just gave up a sack. I don't think you know if he moved, and that's the only play I have in my brain.
And granted, like you said, it's the one play. I feel like it was literally meant to just be like, "Is this what you want, Steelers fans? Is this the guy you're looking for?"
Yeah,
and they go hike, and he just stands there, and then they do get sacked. I'm like, no, absolutely not.
After we've already had a bad season with linemen, that was like a rough sign to see. I'm pretty much cashing all my chips on Ryan Jensen at center. There is Trenton Brown from New England. I'm not too familiar with him. There's Eric Fisher from Indy. I actually don't know how he played. I know he's injured like mostly all last year, but I'm not really sure how he played. I'm not really sure if Indy's bringing him back. If not, I mean, I wouldn't mind kicking the tires on him, to be honest, for depth.
Yeah.
And again, when we're saying people we want, that we're not accounting for our salary or our cap. I'm just naming names.
No.
I'm not even going to pretend. I'm not even going to pretend to know that I know how that stuff works. I'm just naming names.
No. Literally, Rodgers gets this $200 million deal, and they're like, guess what? That saves so much money for us. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, how? So we got... this guy has been linked to us. He's just a guard. Laken Tomlinson, guard from San Fran. I would say watch out for him this upcoming week. Okay. Which I think if you sign him as a guard, you got Kendrick, you got Dotson. I would say Trey Turner's gone, in my personal opinion.
Yeah.
And then as I keep going down the line, Morgan Moses was a guy that I wanted them to pick up last year. He was super cheap. Looks like he's a free agent again. We'll see if the Jets sign him. He is 31, though. Also, don't know how he played before the Jets. Just name I recognize.
Sure.
And as I keep scrolling, the names get worse. and more bizarre by the scroll.
That's not even worth it at that point.
No. So let's okay, so offensive line. Let's go wide receiver. As of today, for wide receiver, a lot of people got franchise tagged. Chris Godwin got franchise tagged. He's out. Mike Williams got a extension from the Chargers.
Literally the two guys that you and I talked about the most just got, re-signed. So
right. Devontae Adams is going to get franchise tagged somehow, some way. Don't know how. Allen Robinson will be available. I don't think they will pick him up, though. That's my opinion.
No.
I think they really want someone with speed, kind of like a Z receiver, like a tall speed guy. You know what? Maybe Allen Robinson's that guy, and maybe I'm uneducated, but he hasn't played in a while, and I don't remember him as like a big highlight, quick kind of like Z kind of guy. I don't know. I don't remember him being that. So.
Listen, I get all my information on Allen Robinson from a close personal friend of mine who is a Bears fan, and I don't know if half the things he says is accurate because he's a Bears fan. So it's already hard to trust him as is. But
Will Fuller, I don't want. He's too injury prone. But that is kind of that speed Z guy that people are looking for. I personally don't want.
Plus, is he going to fare well on our team since he's only good at scoring against us?
What? What do you mean?
Isn't he one of those receivers where it's like, these are the players that seem to have really good games against the Steelers always?
I don't know. He never plays, so it's tough to say.
But when he does,
I don't know about that. I think I'm more of like. I don't know. There's been a couple of guys who floated around the league here and there. I can't name one to you, but it's like this guy always happens to catch a touchdown against us. I know you're talking about. I don't think Will Fuller is one of them.
Mm-hmm. I could be wrong. But.
Marquise Goodwin, he's really fast, but he is 31.
Really?
Maybe. Yeah, I know. I was kind of surprised that he's that old. Jakeem Grant from Chicago. I feel like they keep him, right?
I thought he was super young. He's a free agent.
It must be his rookie deal. Must be done.
Huh. DJ, I would imagine because if they're going to get rid of Robinson, then they got to keep somebody and not just have Darnell Mooney.
Right. DJ Chark is a free agent, but I have not heard us link to him at all. I know he's pretty decent though. Yeah, that's about it as far as like names that I kind of. Now, of course, there's like classic Steeler moves to pick up receivers that aren't really that great, just to fill in a spot. I mean, both Packers scrub receivers are free agents. Matter of fact, all Packers top 3 receivers are free agents, but Allen Lazard and Marcus Valdez-Scantling are both free agents. I could see them going for honestly either of them. Mostly Marquez.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if in Rodgers' clause or his deal he was like, "Listen, I will sign this. I will do this contract, but you got to draft the players I want. No quarterback, no dude named Jordan Love, my guys." So they're probably going to get some receivers in the draft. If I had to
probably. Jacoby Myers kind of went off for New England last year. He's available, but I imagine New England signs him back.
Do they still have N'Keal Harry?
Yeah, I think they do.
I imagine they do, but obviously I don't really follow Patriots that much, but I feel like he's been either hurt or.
Yeah, I think they still do. You know what? And then let's look at running back briefly, because I personally think that the Steelers run their running backs into the dirt, into the ground. Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor got the rock. What was it, like between 55 and like 60% of the times, and the plays are in, and Najee is like above 90%. And that and those guys get like 2,000 yards, and they're getting the ball less. And I know like we're doing that because Ben was not very good, and who knows what they're going to do next year? Who knows what our quarterback situation looks like? But they need to find somebody else to kind of split the carries here.
Yeah, and Anthony McFarland just really hasn't been cutting it, I feel like, and
which is odd because
he had his own complications during the year. I don't know what it is, but
which is odd because I'm pretty sure Canada was like a coach with Maryland, so like he knows it.
He was.
It's odd. As far as a running back, sorry, I got the burps, man. As far as a running back free agent goes, Raheem Mostert is kind of like top of my list. I think he's a good complementary piece to Najee. Raheem Mostert would be like my guy. There's a bunch of dudes on here, but I think you and I discussed this before. A lot of these dudes aren't. They might not be compatible with him. You know, guys like David Johnson, Leonard Fournette, who they're not going to get rid of anyways.
They're just too similar. Like we already have a down, like every down back, a power dude in Najee. It's like, hey, guess what? Najee's out, and guess who we're bringing in? Najee Harris. Like I feel like there's not really a change in play calls.
What about Philip Lindsay?
I don't know. Philip Lindsay, I think, doesn't get enough credit. I mean, he definitely did pretty well, and then he's just kind of been seen as that, you know, backup dude. I don't know if I have a good enough opinion on Philip Lindsay.
You might feel the same way about this next name, and the other one, it would be Sony Michel.
You know, he actually didn't do too bad for the Rams.
Right.
I mean, I feel like both on the Rams, and then he was on the Patriots the year before that or whatever. And I mean,
he was on the Patriots the year they beat the Rams.
I felt like,
this is rookie year.
So I mean, the dude I think has talent. You know, I think he definitely can be maybe one of those guys that goes in just for Najee to have that break. I still would like more of an elusive, quick, speedy dude, like what we expected McFarland to be.
What about Damien Williams? He's from Chicago.
Oh, Mr. Touchdowns for the Chiefs.
Yeah, in the Super Bowl. Yes.
Yeah, in the playoffs, had the most outrageous playoff performance.
I mean, he could be all right.
Again, to me, I just look at those guys and I'm not like overly ecstatic about it, but it's more of just like just give Najee a break. I saw the dude's body bend in too many ways.
What about Le'Veon? I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Let's bring back Bell.
I mean, okay, don't hate me, but I mean, what's he cost now? Like $3
No, dude. I mean, his rap career is taking off, so like that's got to be worth something.
Right, so he doesn't need to get paid. Actually,
yeah, we could just give him studio time.
Okay, yeah. I mean, he might be a decent complimentary back, depending if he can still play. But I mean, he got cut by the Ravens. The Ravens had no running backs. I'm just saying. I don't think they do it. I don't think they do it. I'm just saying. Okay. Oh, look at this one right here. Chargers. Justin Jackson. He plays really well for Eckler when he comes in.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind Justin Jackson. He's kind of a quick, shifty dude. I mean, so is Eckler. I mean, they kind of have that 1-2 of the same running back. So
yeah. And here's one more name. Actually, two more names. One more name: D'Ernest Johnson, Cleveland's third-string running back, because they're hell bent on keeping Kareem Hunt as their kicker. I mean, running back. So. I think if you really want to keep all three, I guess you can be greedy like that. But you might as well roll with Chubb and a criminal. Get rid of D'Ernest, and then we can take him. And then the last name I'll tell you is, which is not going to happen because he went off last year. I love this dude. I rooted for him. a similar Juju situation, James Conner. But I don't think he becomes a free agent.
James Conner is another one of those. Yeah, exact same Juju situation. You know, I'm going to cheer for him wherever he goes. The dude went off, and I'm really happy for him. Like, when you and I said this before, when we got rid of him, it wasn't like, hey, you're the problem. You're the reason we're rushing so poorly. The dude was injury prone for us. But like when he was healthy and he had got the ball, like he made things happen. He was a baller, dude. I was never really upset with his play. It was just more like our line was falling apart at this point. He was getting injured all the time. I mean, gosh, I think he's still a really talented back.
Right. Okay. So let's. How much time we got here?
About 4 minutes.
Okay. Let's rapid fire here. Okay.
Okay.
We got defense. I'll go right for the line. I think Dante Fowler Jr. I think that would be sick. And the reason why I'm saying this real quick for defense, Stephon Tuitt, we're not really sure what's up with him. If he needs to retire, fine by me. I know you and I both support it. I know a lot of Steelers so-called fans don't support it. They can kick rocks. I'm just looking at defensive lineman as a potential option. Dante Fowler, I would take. Akeem Hicks, definitely take.
Mm-hmm.
Would love to have Akeem Hicks.
Body.
Yeah. Maybe Linval Joseph. He's so old though. Emmanuel Ogbah kind of went off for Miami. I take him. Larry Ogunjobi is a free agent, surprisingly for Cincinnati, but I imagine he signs back. Jerron Reed's a free agent. I take him for D tackle for KC. Tack McKinley from Cleveland. He didn't even play with them. Harold Landry I discussed with you, but he's more of like a linebacker, so probably not.
McKinley's already a free agent, huh?
Yep.
Because he was the same year as Watt, wasn't he?
I think so. You know who else is a free agent is the guy I really love, Hassan Reddick.
You've brought his name up many times.
But he's too good. He's got 11 sacks, and the thing that why I'm not even gonna go look at outside linebackers, mostly because we're running out of time, is because I truly believe that they are going to that they love Highsmith. They want to develop him. They're not gonna if you want the dream team, if you want them to sign Hassan Reddick or Von Miller, that would be sick. That'd be so awesome. It's not going to happen because they like Highsmith and they're going to put their value into him. That's just how the Steelers play. That's what they do.
I like Highsmith. He's hungry. He wants to get better. He works with TJ all the time. Like he shows a lot of promise. I mean, I think he got 6.5 sacks last year, and I mean, it's coming. I think it's coming.
That's why like a person like Kyle Van Noy makes sense to me because he's pretty old. I don't even think he played that well last year, and I think he would be okay taking kind of a rotational piece that Ingram should have been okay with, but wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, they have Kyle Van Noy listed as inside linebacker here, so I mean, shoot, if I was playing inside linebacker, be my guest.
We need it.
Be my guest. Other inside linebackers on here, Dante Hightower as well. I mean, sure, he's old AF, but I mean, whatever. Not a lot of other options, though. That's kind of why I want to go with maybe someone in the draft, potentially. It doesn't mean there's nobody else here. There's just, it's Christian Kirksey might be okay. Quan Alexander might be okay.
Yeah, at this point, it's so much more of a depth piece, and I don't trust Spillane. So
yeah, and now cornerbacks real quick. Stephon Gilmore, I would like. I would take Kyle Fuller. I would take Chris Harris is old AF, so maybe not him, but he's old. He's as old as Joe Hayden. So if you're gonna give Joe Hayden a contract, you give Chris Harris a contract. Pat Pete, I would take him, although I wanted him 6 years ago when he was in his prime. I would take Kevin King even. Xavier Rhodes, I would take. There's a lot. J.C. Jackson, of course. Desmond King. Mike Hughes. I mean, there's tons of names here.
Big names from like 5 years ago.
Sidney Jones. Josh Norman still plays. Don't even know why.
What? He's still in the league?
Eli Apple. I'm just kidding. No way I'm picking Eli Apple. Get out of here. Artie Burns. Come on home, baby.
Come back, baby. Come back tour.
Okay, so let's run this off. We can continue talking about more free agency next week about players because we'll be back next week Wednesday to kind of today we did on Tuesday, but that's kind of how our schedule worked out. We're going to try to do these every Wednesday, try to release on the following or like the next day on a Thursday. A week's going to pass from now to then, especially Wednesday would be the first official day of free agency. A lot of things are going to be kind of pinpointed out already for us. So hopefully we'll kind of know a lot more, but I feel like we can kind of table this for now. And with a couple minutes left, well, I guess we're at an hour already. Let's just talk super briefly, about the quarterback situation. Okay?
That's going to be tough.
To make it brief?
Yeah.
I know. I wanted to keep it as short as possible. How about this? Let's just name... I'll set it up quickly, okay, and give a brief thought on it. Today, I mean, there's rumors that they could get these big-time quarterbacks. Today, Aaron Rodgers signed a $200 million contract for 4 more years. He's out. We're not trading all those picks for him. The Broncos traded their entire franchise and John Elway's mother for Russell Wilson, and we're not getting him either.
Nope.
So who's left? You got Jimmy G. He's got shoulder surgery. That who knows if we'll trade for him. If we do trade for him, it's better be a low pick, and Niners better take that money. Jameis Winston's coming off an ACL injury. Are we going to take him? He throws a lot of touchdowns, throws more picks. Are we going to take Marcus Mariota? He's mobile, like Matt Canada's thing. Are we going to take Mitch Trubisky, who we read a tweet that was rumored to go to the Giants? A week from now, maybe he's on the Giants. We'll find that out. Are we going to take... Man, who else is left?
I think there's a couple other options that... I mean, realistically, thinking about it, there's a couple outlandish things, like the good old take of Deshaun Watson. That's never happening.
No,
but of course, people are jumping on that train immediately. And I'm sorry, guys, that's not happening. We are not spending that much capital, especially when things are so uncertain with him. It's not happening. We're not
going to spend that much capital on. Watch us eat our words a week from now. But my guess is we're not going to spend that much capital on a quarterback who needs a giant salary and bail money. So I don't think we're going to do those things. Oh, Cam Newton's an option as well. I guess I could see that happening. Tyrod Taylor could happen. He's kind of mobile. He's a little older.
Well, who else could be dealt?
Jacoby Brissett could happen. Terry Bridgewater could happen. Sorry.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Teddy Bridgewater could be an option now because, gosh, now they have Russ, Drew Lock. I can't imagine they would trade Drew Lock immediately after acquiring him.
Right.
So, that's always an option.
Right. Okay. Well, a week from now, that picture might be a little more clearer. However, quarterback for the Steelers is a longer conversation. There's so many pieces they need to get in free agency, need to address. That makes the NFL mock drafts we do a little more clear, and that kind of pinpoints us in the right direction of what they may or may not do. So with that being said, thank you for listening to our very first episode of the Northern Steel podcast. Again, I'm Dominic. This is my brother Chris, and we will see you guys next Wednesday or Thursday, I guess. Next Thursday, next week. We'll see you guys next week.
Thanks for listening.
Sign-offs will be a lot smoother as we go along. Okay. Have a good one. Peace out.
Peace.